Yeah, I don't believe in competitions. I
There you go.
think, I mean, in my city, I am the biggest one out here. I mean, in Riverside, California, come and see what happened. Don't do business here. If you happen to be in my niche, I'm sorry, but I'll just destroy you.
Three, two, one.
Hey, first of all, thank you for being up this early and being with us. You're amazing. So, for our listeners out there, I guess I didn't do a proper intro. So this is Daniel Nguyen, and Daniel is the owner of several seven-figure businesses, and just flat out a baller and a badass. So you're going to learn about him and learn about what he does on this podcast. So, Daniel, would you be kind enough to kind of share with our listeners who you are and what you do?
Yeah, yeah. Well, I had a couple brick and mortar businesses as well as e-commerce and coaching business in the past, and nothing seems to kind of click because I was just churning through money through advertising, and especially in the coaching business, you could have a great month, but the next month, if it's slow, you're down, I don't know, 30, 40 grand in ads.
Right.
So the motto sounds great. Like you do the work once, and you don't have to do it again. But they didn't tell you that you still have to do the advertising again and again. And I remember looking at my bank account at the end of the month, right before payroll, right before rent. It's just like, yeah, we had a good month, but then it just all gone,
Yeah.
right? And I'm sure, Dar, you come from the brick and mortar, and it's like, I have to do this again,
Yeah.
frustrating. So I was searching, and I saw Mr. Dar here on one of the Go High Level. What is it? The spotlight that Sean does, and completely a light bulb went up in my mind. I said, "Oh, that's it. That's the model right there. You do the work once, and it's on a recurring revenue. So it's all about the MRR.
Right.
The monthly recurring revenue game, right? The
Right.
bigger the MRR, man, you'll be balling like Daria here.
Now I was gonna say you're being humble though. You're pretty baller yourself. I mean,
Well, life is short, man.
That's right.
With a smart CPA and a smart attorney, you can pretty much have a lot of things you want, and you don't really have to pay for a lot of it, because there's so much tax. What do you call it? Tax credit, tax write off, or
Mhm.
and all kinds of stuff. So I just have fun. I spend I just spend it.
That reminds me of an episode of Schitt's Creek. I love Schitt's Creek, where Daniel's like, "It's a write off. It's a write off. Everything's a write off." You
Yeah,
have to see.
yeah.
It.
I
Yeah.
haven't watched that. I'm not familiar. Hey, Daniel,
Oh, it's great.
you mentioned you've run several companies. How many of those are you actually running right now?
Actively. So I am. I have two cryotherapy weight loss center. I have two beauty salon. I just bought a nail salon.
We're
Like
talking
this
about
month.
we're talking brick and mortar here when you're saying
Yeah,
that.
yeah, 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 yeah.
Okay.
I mean, brick and mortar is my heart and soul. I love meeting people, and I love making women beautiful. You know, um, and I just love the interactions. So, but then I'm not very actively managing. I have a GM, and he does a lot of my management for me. I have an e-commerce store. It does pretty good. I do e-commerce for beauty supplies for other eyelash extension artists. If anybody watching out there does eyelash extension, I am the number one in the country. I am the biggest one in the country.
Do you?
Um,
Okay.
oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
We
No,
go ahead.
no. I said I think we discussed this in one call that you and I had a while ago.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. It's great, but the thing is, I can't make more than 60. I'm giving my numbers away. I can't make six figures a month. I cannot make six figures a month. It's very difficult because of my small niche audience. I'm super like dive deep into the niche, right? So I thought, okay, well, I need a, like most entrepreneur, I need another business, right? I need another
Right.
business. I need another business, right?
Sure.
So
So, question for you: out of all the businesses that you mentioned, how many are digital? How many are brick and mortar? Just to do, and I'm gonna go deep on this now, if you don't
oh,
mind.
okay.
How
So
many are digital? And how many are brick and mortar?
I have 4 brick and mortar actively right now. I have a
Yeah.
couple more incoming. Like I have multiple locations in across the states. It's incoming, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's
In the
going through.
pipeline.
Yes, it is in the pipeline. Yeah.
Okay, and then
Uh,
digital.
Digital right now. I have an e-commerce store. I probably just gonna leave it alone. I'm not gonna mess with it anymore. And I don't have a coach anymore. I don't have that coach anymore. But I do have the software, the SaaS. Yeah.
Gotcha. And follow up on that. So when you say that, because you're saying, I watched a video with Dar and he had all these systems and stuff. In your specific case, how many of those businesses that you just talked about you will consider they are fully somehow automated running? You said you had a GM in one of them. I'm guessing that's your like
Yeah.
COO for SaaS companies. That's your operations manager for other companies. You can call it whatever you want, but they
Yeah.
run the thing and you can just sleep at night and sales are happening and operations are happening and customers are getting in and they're satisfied. So out of those, let's say I counted 6, 2 incoming, let's say total 8. But out of those 6, how many would you say are fully there that don't need you to be present?
None of them. I've been working at home in my closet for like a year now. I haven't. I've been in my closet, for a year, and I haven't really been out to the store. I take vacations, but then again, this goes back to things I watch and learn from other awesome entrepreneurs like Alexa Mosey. He's like, and then Matt DeSeno. We talked about the disconnects revenue, right? So I was so like inspired by that. So I hired GM, and you know what's funny is like when as a business owners, when we hire people, it's like, okay, so welcome. I don't know what you're gonna do, but you're gonna do everything. So it's really difficult for me to transition from the owner to like an actual owner. Like it's so hard. So
It takes time. It takes
Is it
time.
hard for you to so for me, I know it's hard for me to relinquish control, right? Because I feel like no one can do it as good as I am, and
Yeah.
to be honest, because it's my heart and soul in the business. But at the same time, probably people that can do it better than me if we're being truthful with ourselves. Do you have a hard time turning it over to someone?
I did. So it took me a very long time to come up an SOP for my company, right? But luckily I started this 2 years ago when I was building companies and when launching stuff. Every single company that I launched have an SOP in every single category. Every job description have an SOP. So we run it through like a computer system, right? When you boot the computers, it just runs check lights. That's what I do. So I did that very early. And now when I'm opening a new location, it's just a matter of duplicating a Trello board and just boom, it goes. Assigning it to my members, my team member, my VAs, my GM, my directors. I just add them to the board, add a new location, and add the connections, and off they go. It's like watching a race. Off you goes. So it was very difficult. I have to say that it was not easy, but it is doable. It's just a matter of just sitting down and just really think about what moves are needed in the business, and how do I try to step out and teach my team member to do what I do best, so that I can focus on other things.
And I'm sure you find overlaps actually, because there's 2 schools of thought here, right? Which is the one of like, don't, as an entrepreneur, don't be involved in so many companies because you will get diluted in your
Correct.
time, in your bandwidth, and whatever. And then there's the other ones like you just focus on 2 things. Well, it's the same kind of mentality. So and Dara and I think we have conversations about this often, right? quite often, because Dar has his pie on many fingers, his finger on many pies, and
Yeah.
I'm always tempted, but I try to keep myself to like maximum of two endeavors at once. Now you, on the other hand, you're running on six, building up to eight, and I'm
He's a
wondering.
magician.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, one of those guys. What's it called? Like a juggler? Is that what they call it?
Hmm.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and so I'm guessing that you must find common denominators in all of these companies so you can replicate systems and operative uh, um, initiatives so they can all run based on similar SOPs, perhaps. How you found yourself recycling some of those and putting it on this company, or even like the new two companies that are coming up? It's like, you know what, this is the same. It has just a different facade or a different cover. Is that how you think about it?
Yeah. So actually my brick and mortar stores are very like McDonald's kind of style. It's very very like cut and paste kind of deal. It's very simple. I think as an entrepreneur, it's a challenge. It's almost like a game to me. It's like, how do I make this so simple that anybody could do it again and again, and people will pay maximum value for what I do at the smallest brick and mortar scale I can possibly think of. It's like a little solution I'm trying to figure out. Because essentially I am designing the future franchising store. Who knows? In 5 years I might be the owner of 500 locations in the country. So not the owner. The franchise is going to have 500 locations in the country, right? Because I have some big power partners in this business. And one of the other one is Mine Gordon. He is my actual board member that is helping me with this. So no
That's a
doubt
good
that
one to
we're going to
have.
be absolutely $100 million company coming up. So it takes a team to move any businesses forward, and I'm very blessed. I have actually a lot of employees, a lot of team members that help me grow this insanity, right? I call it the insanity business. In a sense, it's like it's to me it's fulfilling because I'm very easily get bored. So when I can't configure something out, I'll figure it out. But then again, when I'm waiting for like in between businesses, I'm kind of a little bit downtime, and I just get a little bit bored, and I just want to, let's see what else can I do. Can I do this better? Can I do this? Can I up the game? Some sort of thing. So I'm always trying to up the game. I don't know why, but I just feel like I need to up the game.
Yeah.
I have another question, but I don't know if Dar has one because I can
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay, so follow up. You said something in the middle of what you said just now. The theme of your businesses, right? It's not like a brand new type of theme, like you say, spa salons and things like that. So how, and you're successful, financially speaking, from what we understand, right? So
I
how
mean,
do
look at
you?
those suits in the closet. I mean,
I
come on.
mean, who takes a podcast meeting in a closet? That's somebody that is so confident that overshadows our beautiful backgrounds because we're just trying to make up for something else. That's confidence.
Right.
So, or just a way not to bother your family at 7 a.m. Which makes sense.
It's both. I don't know how to answer this question.
That was not the question, actually. Sorry, that was just a detour. The question was, sorry about that. So the question was, how do you deal with latent competition? Of course, what you do, a lot of people do, but what makes you different? Like, and I think a lot of entrepreneurs struggle with that. Like, I've seen a lot of people say, like, "Oh, I have this idea, but I don't want to tell it to anybody because if they copy it,
Yeah.
I will be ruined." It's like I see that so much, and then you see businesses that have been around for the longest time, and you see people that really, succeed in there. So you seem to do that, right? You seem to do something that a lot of people know as a business model, but you seem to kick ass at it. How do you do that? How do you differentiate yourself?
I don't believe in competitions. I mean, in my city, I am the biggest one out here. I mean, in Riverside, California, come and see what happened. Don't do business here. If you happen to be in my niche, I'm sorry, but I'll just destroy you. I just totally crush you. Uh,
He's playing
I just
all.
run in the airport and say like, "Where's
He's just-
Daniel Glenn?"
That'll be the intro to the show. If you're in Riverside, California, don't come here because I'll destroy you.
I will, and I'm multiplying myself, and time will be the essence that be how to say it's like everything we do. It's like there's a truth to it. I can be saying a lot of things, but we'll see what happens, right? I'm very optimistic. What gave me the confidence and I say like advantage other competitor out there is I never believed there was a competitor. It's never in my mind. My coach says, the competitor is something that your inability, your inability give you excuses to yourself, so that to feel like it's okay to be not the best, to not be the best. So I never had a thought about competitor. I don't know why. I just never had a thing like, oh, what if they're a competitor? I just never think about it. I just do it.
I love it.
That's a really good mindset. That's really good. I understand.
It
that.
is a good mindset.
Oh, another thing is, let me also share with this really, really crucial part is Nguyen has taught me to disconnect the outcome to what I'm doing. So I just almost don't give a crap
believe
You can
about
say
it.
it. You can say it.
Yeah. So I just do it. I don't think about, oh, what if it doesn't work? What if? I never say that. What I'm saying is, how awesome this is gonna be.
Right.
How
Right.
awesome it's gonna be. What's my life's gonna be changed once it works.
Yeah. I mean, one thing that I noticed, you have all this business running, but every time, well, it's probably the second or third time that I've spoken to you, I notice two things, which build character, I think, which is a combination of confidence / humility, which is interesting because
It is.
you can be saying like, I'm gonna kick your ass in this area, but at the same time you're saying, I learned this from this person that, they might not have a businesses like you, but you're like literally listening to what things you can learn from them. So that's an interesting trait to have. I think that's a good one. If you ask me. Okay, that's super cool. I don't know, Dar, I'll put the ball on your court.
Yeah. Plus, he's just extremely likable and kind, right? Like that goes a long way. Even if you're not very good at business, if you're kind to others and likable,
People will throw money at
you tend to go a little bit farther than the people who are not.
Yeah, I think so. Over here, in my own like household, my business, is just amazing to see. I have friends and family, even like just people heard about me. They flew in. So this family actually flew in yesterday. I picked them at the airport.
And they're staying at your house?
Yes, they are. Yeah, I'm hosting them at the house. So they're also business owners, and
Yeah.
just didn't figure it out yet.
Yeah.
They have businesses, and it's just like can't wrap their mind around it. So they came here for a whole, 24 hours experience, and I'm just dropping so much, just knowledge and bomb, and I just give them the books, like,
Yeah.
hey, read this, read that, and I never imagine what I want for return. I never think about that. I always think about how much can I give to this, couple, so they can better their life, because it absolutely changed mine. A lot of the things I learned from now is through refinement and fine tuning my processes, and it just get better every single day. And by talking to like you and William here, at the end of this call, I'm gonna take a couple of notes, and I'm gonna fine tune a little bit in terms of processes out. So it's a combination of so many coaches. Like I'm a what do you call what's the name? What's the funny name? So the course
Coach
junkie.
Hor?
I am a course junkie. If you look at my ADU, which is the bookmark I have in my Chrome, it's like this long. And I kid you not, that's 200 grand just looking at it, right? I spent $200,000 in that thing right there, just courses, right? And it is a collective learning experience from other coaches, and I just kind of collaborate everything into what I do what I think could work, and it seems to be working pretty well. But it is a collections of other individual coaches that I have learned and better myself over the days and months and years of listening, taking takeaways and just merging it to my process, right? It's what do you call it? The implementations, right? What do I learn from that? So like Dar has his own way of teaching, and I took a lot of stuff that I do now in SaaS from Dar. I took a lot from Matt. I took a lot from Sean. From so many other people, right? And I can name go on and on, go on. But I think like the a lot of entrepreneurs out there could absolutely learn so much more and move the needle so much more if they would just reinvest their earning into self-educations. And I think Alex Hamosi has dropped an episode out of, I don't know, like last month or something. He said, I never had money in my bank account until I have $1 million. And I thought, that's an interesting philosophy, because he said, I spent every single dime into better myself at marketing and learning. He just reinvested in himself, right? So we are the best ROI that has the best longevity, the best like long-term planning. So like, I don't know, why buy stocks? Just put it right here,
Yeah, I completely agree. I do the same thing. I have 3 different coaches actively. I actually have 4, once kind of inactive, right? That I learned different things from. And my wife's like, we could have so much more money right now in the pool, right? I'm like,
That's so true.
Right? But why are you keep buying these coaches? I'm like, because I keep learning more. Because you don't realize, the money that we have made is from what we've learned in the coaching and implementing that. Just think if we were to reinvest that into higher learning, continuing learning, it's the bigger picture. And frankly, I love learning anyway, and then sharing it with others. But I'm kind of the same way. Like, we'll have the $1 million when it all comes together.
When it comes monthly, passive, that's when we're gonna have $1 million.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, my spouse, she's like, so we made like $1 million last year, and where did that money go? So I spent it. You see you see the new car?
See this little tab here on my computer?
Right. Yeah. See the computer.
You see all these courses. This is my flex right there. You might make a screenshot of it. There you go, my flex right there. I'm flexing my courses, right? There's the Lamborghini. Right. The Lamborghini is right there. That's where I'm flexing, right?
There it is. That's smart money. That's better than the Lamborghini.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There's something to be said about, I was listening to you. There's something to be said about comparison. I think there's 2 branches of comparison and comparing something or yourself. And I noticed something just based on what you said and some of the stuff that we're hearing, which is, I know that a lot of people find themselves looking at social media and thinking, oh my God, that person is like 24 and they have this and that. And they end up comparing themselves to that outcome, thinking, why am I like 40 or 45 or whatever, and I don't have that, and I didn't achieve that. But then what I'm hearing from you is a different kind of comparison, which is the comparison of like, you don't think about competition, or whatever you might see as like somebody else. When you compare yourself, I don't know if you compare yourself. I think you go to coaches, you go to courses, and you're like, I'm going to compare my processes and my methodologies to what they're doing so I can copy or improve or change or evolve based on those learnings, which is different from the comparison of like, that person has something that I lack or somehow. So right. I think comparison is positive, but I think it has to do more not with the person itself or like self-criticism in that way, but more about what situations are you putting yourself in to achieve the things that you really want. Does that resonate with you, Daniel?
Yeah. I think I wholly, I agree with that. And we all of us here, we have a lack, right? The lack of not knowing how to make $1 million in a month. That's our lack. I haven't done it yet, so that's my biggest lack, right? So I focus on the positive side. Like, what can I do to make $1 million a month and I don't have to run ad. I don't have to like, work. It just comes in, right? So that's the kind of question I ask. And I think recently I was just driving home and I thought, huh.
In his new 911.
I was going to say something like that. I was going to say
Yeah.
in his Lamborghini.
Side note, we're both Porsche guys. Go ahead.
In his limousine. He was being driven to home. No, I'm kidding. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Right. So I had a question. I thought so. I don't know who. Somebody asked me. It's like, hey, Daniel, how did you come to the conclusion that SaaS, right, and not just SaaS, but like ranking businesses to the number one on Google search is the angle, is the approach, right? And I told him, well, I didn't know. I honestly didn't know I come to this point now, right? It took me a lot of variations, a lot of versions of Daniel to like come to a conclusion to tell my team like, okay, this is what we're gonna do, right? And then, well, that didn't work out. You know what? This is what we're gonna do, and then it didn't work out. We keep changing ourselves and keep asking better questions. So, I think the question that drove me here is way before I met Matt DeSanto. Like this is way before that. This is like right at the time I met Dar like a year ago, and I thought, what can I do to make the monthly recurring revenue happen, whether I get out of bed or not? What product and services can I offer to people? What value can I bring to businesses that they will be more than happy to pay me every single month, and they don't have to even like talk to me, right? So I keep asking that question, and the answer will reveal itself, right? So I keep asking better and better questions. I never understood I don't know, like Myron Gordon always say, well, to be, successful people learn how to ask the right questions. I never understood that. And it's been resonated with me for like 3 years now. Once I heard that, I said, what is he talking about? So
Yeah,
and then
just tell me those. What are those questions? Yeah, right. But go ahead.
Yeah, like I don't know what it means, right?
That's what I
but
mean.
He gave me an example. He says, well, he said success. How do I say? He said people who are not successful always say, "What if it doesn't work?" Right? What if I'm not ready? What if I'm not worthy? What if this? What if that? Right? They focus so much on the negativity, it caused them paralysis. It just stopped them from doing anything. Now, he says, well, instead of asking that, what if, you can say, how awesome it's going to be. What life's going to be like, which is the positive end result, the desired outcome. Mm-hmm. So like by asking questions that drive the desirable outcome, it entirely shifts your focus to the right lane instead of the left lane, right? And it just changes your mind functionality, and it just changes everything in what we do. But I was doing that. I never understood why until somebody said, how did you come up with this? I didn't come up with this thing. This SaaS thing, it's not my idea. I just saw Dar do it. He's pretty cool. So I tried it, and I thought, hey, this is actually pretty cool. It's actually an amazing model. Like, you got to get on this thing. Like, this is awesome, right? If I could just turn off everything, this is it right here. Like, this thing is it. I could be so disconnected and still making mad money,
That's interesting. I mean, that's interesting because I was going to ask you, how do you fall into all the niches that you're working with? But it seems to me that it wasn't necessarily about I love, I mean, even though you did say that you love making women look beautiful, but it's not necessarily, and it's about that. I think it's necessarily about what people really value and what's that thing, whatever the name of it is, and it doesn't monetize well. So I'm going to go that way. Is that kind of the thinking?
Yeah, I think in the back of my head, I have a formula, right? In beauty, I love health and beauty industry. I wanted to have a business that has a growing market. It's applicable to all men and women. A lot of my clients are men now. It's so weird, but I I start running ads to men, and men buy, for weight loss. And they
I
spend
was
like,
like, eyelashes? What?
no, for weight loss, like, they spend crazy money with us here.
Yeah.
So I want it to be something that it's a scalable, it has to meet all of my criteria, and these criteria actually comes from high ticket coaching. You got to have a premium value offer that everybody wants, and it's minimal effort but massive output, massive value when you put it side by side, and they buy. When you put the end result next to the price and you emphasize the end result so big, people will buy. And that's what I learned through sales. Even on SaaS sales call is, I literally close every single person I'll make an offer to. Is the way that I emphasize the end result, what they're gonna feel like when they are ranked number one on Google. That's all we talk about. I don't talk about SaaS. I don't talk about reviews. I don't talk about nothing. I just talk about what it feels like to be number one on Google.
That's amazing. Hey, I want to go back to the other thing really quick. You were talking about where William was asking about like kind of how you ended up, and you weren't really looking for SaaS. I feel like we both have a similar, maybe all of us have a similar curiosity, right? We're at where we're at because we got curious and didn't just kind of accept where we were at any given time. Just continue to learn and get curious. What's next? How can I get better? How can I improve, etc. Right? How can I find the better business model, so forth?
Yeah. Refinement. Yeah, we just keep refining ourselves to get a leaner business, more consistent profit margins, and just less headache.
Yeah.
I think at least for me, I don't know about other SaaS company, but at least for us, we're very headache free. If it seems like everything we every single client we onboard have great success in the first 2 weeks. They blew up, and they're like the happiest little puppy.
I think William had another question, and then it's coming time for us to wrap up. So I want to make sure that before we do that, if you could give any advice, and we're gonna hold this because William has a question, but think about advice that you would want to give other entrepreneurs, regardless of their stage in the game, and then we want to let people know how and where they can connect with you.
Yeah. Daniel, so I just have a very technical question, actually. I think the way we connected before was also, I was learning a lot about how you deal with ads and how ads for you are a very strong point in which that helps. I mean, you mentioned in this conversation that helping to grow in those businesses. Now, what percentage, besides the operations and stuff, do you give to running ads to the success of your businesses, but also how much of that has to do with you getting it right and doing it yourself rather than perhaps sometimes outsourcing it? So I'm curious about that.
Well, last year, all of my revenue came from, just pay advertising, Facebook and Instagram. This year, I am making budget for a podcast. I'm going to go hard in the podcast game. I already have a plan. I just need to kind of, focus on it. And organic outreach, which is, Facebook DMs and IG DMs and LinkedIn. And we're adding into a cold email channel as well, with one of the best cold email guru out there. So, and also PR, like getting featured on entrepreneur.com, getting featured on Forbes, like with the SaaS brand right here. I realize it takes so much branding to have a grip in the marketplace. And I never believe that it is something worth thinking about until I had a customer says, Daniel, I Googled your business name and nothing comes up. I was like, oh, shoot. Yeah, you're right. That business I just made 2 weeks ago, of course it's not going to be up in Google, Yeah. So we thought, okay, we got to fix that. And I immediately, try to up my SEO game. So when they search for me, I actually show up, right? And also, I had a podcast with Connor, and it was in his Facebook group, and from that podcast, I got two DMs, and from those two DM that connected me to 10 people. And from the result of those 10 people, I actually got like 25 clients from there. You
It's
know,
amazing.
and
What
it's like,
what a
whoa,
funnel.
what the hell just happened, right?
Mhm.
Like people said, oh yeah, podcast, yeah, podcasts, yeah,
Yeah.
organic, dead, right?
Right.
And I thought, that's crazy. Like I just had one episode in a tiny little group, right? It's a tiny little group, and I was connected to some of the like smartest mind in the industry, and just networking. People calling me, want to pick my brain and want to collaborate with me, because I also pitch to other agencies as well. We don't just do for a client, but I work with agencies, and these are the agencies that reach out and say, "Hey, Daniel, you have a great product. You're ranking people on Google. I don't do that. I do pay ads. So can you do for my clients?" So I was absolutely, yeah. I'll give you a discount rate because you're an agency. So we end up just working with agency now. It's just much faster client acquisition process that doesn't cost me anything. And that just gave a whole new segment of client acquisition. I never thought about agencies. I was like, I'm gonna run pay ads. I'm gonna go hard. I'm gonna acquire the client myself. But then again, this dude just messaged me, hey, Daniel, do you do like white label? I was like, wait, white label for what? He's like, yeah, for your SaaS thing, for your Google ranking thing. I have an agency that has 75, solar client, and I don't necessarily are an expert of ranking them on Google. I do pay ads, lead gen. So
Mhm.
I think we're a good fit. I say, I think so too. Yeah, I do that. Yes, I do. You know, so it's just like one thing lead to another, right? And we just keep expanding our, I would say, reach this year.
Mhm.
So watch out. It's
That's
going to
it.
be
Watch out.
massive, massive coming up.
Yeah, what's the neighboring city to Riverside? Watch out, whatever.
Yeah.
Topanga. They're coming for you.
That's right. He's going
Uh,
nationwide, man. He's blowing it up.
on that note of like the podcast, guys, if you're interested in what Dar does and myself, the links are below this video.
That's right.
Very
That's right.
Uh,
All
okay,
right.
so Daniel, that was amazing. That was an amazing answer. Thank you, Dar.
Don't
Sorry,
hang
go
up
ahead.
yet. All right. So real quick before we hang up, because we use the Riverside recording studio, which is incredible, by the way. At the end, when we stop, we have to stay on for a minute because it has to continue recording from your device and then upload to the cloud. So, really quick, Daniel, what advice would you like to share with our viewers, regardless of their journey as an entrepreneur? If there's something that you've learned along the way, like one of the most critical thing in reflection, what would it be?
Oh man, this is a tough question, man. There's so much, right?
I
But if I
know, I
have
know.
to, yeah, if I had to sum it down to one single line, is something I learned from Myron Golden, which is my coach. We human have a superpower, and it's called expectation. We have the power to set your own expectations for anything. So if to all the listener out there, no matter what journey you have, that's okay. Just expect more of yourself.
Mm,
Just do that. Just expect more of yourself. Your body will always match up to your expectations. You know, and in businesses, we expect a lot. And that's how amazing entrepreneurs are. Just crushing it out the door. Is they expect a lot of themselves. And the expectation, the power of expectation, will give you the motivation to get up out of bed early to read books. I was never an avid reader until I expect more of myself. Like how else am I going to learn up my game, right? Because you have to expect more of yourself, so that you gotta learn more and you gotta read more, so that you can be the expert in whatever industry or whatever niche you decide to zone into. Just expect more of yourself.
I love it. That's fantastic. So, Daniel, how can people connect with you? By the way, we're going to have links below so you can connect with Daniel. If you want help with eyelashes or weight loss or SaaS, hook him up. So, Daniel, can you tell us though what those are verbally, in case someone's listening and they can't
Right.
get the links?
Right. I think Facebook is the best.
Okay.
Daniel Q, the letter Q, and then Nguyen, and then you find me, and you can always add friend and send me a message, and anything I can help, just reach out. Yeah.
Well, man, thank you so much for being with us. You are an incredible human being, incredible entrepreneur, and I am so glad to be able to call you my friend. So, yeah, man, thank you for being on today. William, anything else?
Thanks a lot, Daniel. It was really enlightening to listen to you, and I think a lot of people will find a lot of value from what's been said today. So, thanks a lot.
Yeah. Thank you, guys. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
3, 2, 1.